This is Nate at Stowe Training Systems, and I always get asked about losing weight and where to start. You know, what's that first thing I should do? And then once I do that, what should I do next? And when I think about it, what I really think about is a pyramid with that base at the bottom being wider than a peak at the top. So get that base correct. Once you've really nailed that base, go to the next level, get that right, go to the next level with each level below it supporting the one above it. So without further ado, the base of the pyramid for fat loss or weight loss is simply creating a caloric deficit. I don't care how you get there, whether it's eating less, moving more, sleeping more so you're eating less, but if you don't create a caloric deficit, you will not lose weight. It's science. It's called the law of thermodynamics. If you don't create a caloric deficit, you will never lose weight no matter what else you get correct. So that's your overall objective. I encourage a lot of moving more, because it's just easy, it makes you feel good. There's a lot of other health benefits, but again, move more, eat less. It's really as simple as it sounds, and if you do it consistently, it works. Next up is going to be resistance training, weight training, strength training, whatever you want to call it. So I've created this caloric deficit. Maybe I'm walking a lot, I'm eating less, I just got into that deficit. You want to add this strength training component and progressive strength training to where it gets more challenging each time. This maintains your muscle mass, so as you're losing weight, you keep as much muscle as possible. In short, muscle equals metabolism. So if you're maintaining that muscle, you're still going to burn plenty of calories even as your scale weight goes down, which means that it's easier to keep that caloric deficit happening. So see point number one. Beyond that, it's going to be our protein intake. Now, protein intake is simply going to support the resistance training we just mentioned, and that resistance training is going to support the caloric deficit at the bottom. When it comes to protein intake, enough is enough. You don't need to eat an insane amount, or you don't even really need to time it all that well. You just got to get enough, and enough is enough. There's plenty of charts out there. It's anywhere from a half a gram to a gram per pound of body weight. Really depends upon how big you are and how aggressive you want to go for this goal, but enough's enough. After we get that mastered is now where cardio comes in. For cardio, it all works. High intensity, low intensity, somewhere in the middle. They all have health benefits. It depends upon, your injury history. I had a client like, hey, I heard that the high intensity is where it's at, and that's what the research says. And I said, not with your back and knees. You're not gonna be able to do it. You're gonna have a lot of other injuries. So I'd suggest you just go low and slow because there's still plenty of health benefits. And we're not gonna have this contraindicative movement where you're trying to get your heart stronger and then you're hurting your back and you're hurting your knees and hips and stuff like that. So, it's all important. So, and again, that's just supporting that rule number one, the base of the pyramid, getting into a caloric deficit. And finally is the rest of the stuff, the minutia. And this is what most folks really want to talk about, is the minutia, the details, really getting into the weeds. However, none of that matters. That really scientific thing doesn't matter. That perfect supplement doesn't matter if, back to point number one, you're not creating a caloric deficit. So there you go. The hierarchy of fat loss, create a caloric deficit. Everything beyond that, which would be strength training, protein intake, cardio, the minutia, that is all coming back to support a caloric deficit. And that, my friends, is the hierarchy of fat loss. If you'd like me to help you put together a plan, something that's doable, where you can get into a caloric deficit, where you can start to lose some weight, message me. Love to help. That's it for today. Boop.